Alright, hey guys, this is video 2 of Wednesday, and now we're going to talk about genres. Now remember we told you at the end of video 1, you need to be taking notes. So have your paper out. When you take notes for a flip video, one of the benefits of this is that you get to pause. So pause, write your notes down, and then move on to the next slide. We'll try to remind you to pause, but it's just something that you need to learn to do.
Alright, and genres are basically categories, so let's take a closer look. Alright, we have nonfiction, which is real, truthful, and factual. We have fiction, these are stories that are made up. So look underneath the umbrellas. We have two lists. Under nonfiction, we have informational, biography, autobiography, memoir. Under fiction, we have realistic fiction, historical fiction, fantasy, science fiction, traditional literature. Now look under both umbrellas. You'll see poetry. It's important to look at the content of what we're reading. So poetry can actually fall under either category. Let's take a closer look.
Okay, but one other thing. A, write this down, and B, every book you read is either going to be nonfiction or fiction. However, you can read a book that could contain, let's see, we don't have mystery on here, but it could be realistic fiction and mystery. So some of these subgenres, it could fall into one or the other. Okay, go ahead.
Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is realistic fiction. So basically, the story is not factual, it's not true, but it feels like it could be. The characters feel like they could be real. A lot of you read Blueford High series or Tears of a Tiger, and you guys will ask me, is that a true story? It's not a true story, but it has realistic elements from life, and so we've categorized that as realistic fiction.
Right. Historical fiction takes place, historical fiction is a made-up story, but it takes place in a setting that is real. So it would take place during World War II. Sometimes the characters are real, but what they say and some of the situations they're put in are made up. Alright, so Boy at War. We're going to do literature circles this year, and a lot of the books you read will be historical fiction.
Okay, next is traditional literature. Traditional literature is text that's been passed down generation to generation. So tall tales, folk tales, fairy tales, fables, King Arthur stories, Greek mythology. These are some of the things that you'll be familiar with. But also look at the bottom of this list, we have The Lightning Thief, and that's a story that's been updated. A lot of the content is derived from Greek mythology, but it has some other realistic elements in it as well.
Beastly's another one, and
A Kiss in Time?
A Kiss in Time. So Beastly would be the modern day Beauty and the Beast. A Kiss in Time is modern day Sleeping Beauty, and both of them were really pretty good. Fantasy, this is my favorite genre.
She really does.
It is. Fantasy is made up, so it's fiction, but it's also, it has characters in there that couldn't exist in real life. So you have vampires, you have werewolves, you have witches, some kind of mythical creature. Twilight would fall into this. Harry Potter would fall into this. Tons of my books on my shelf are fantasy.
Alright, mystery, this is my favorite genre. It has a puzzling event, you're trying to figure something out. Also, I would put spy novels under here, things like 39 Clues.
Oh, Jodi Picoult. Most of her stories are mystery. There's always some kind of, she always has some kind of shocking ending, which is why I like them. So My Sister's Keeper, 19 minutes. Oh, are you pausing your videos? Are you writing down these notes? Because both of us will check them tomorrow. And if you don't have the notes and you don't know what these genres are, you're going to have a hard time playing our game on Friday.
Alright, sci-fi. I also like this category a lot too. Basically, it's still fantasy, but it has elements of science and technology. Robots, time machines, post-apocalyptic stories,
Which is
basically when the world's ending and
everything that happens after. So the Hunger Games. The United States is no more. Takes place where we are, but it is called Panem. Hunger Games is excellent science fiction.
So a lot of like genetic engineering would fall under there. My favorite sci-fi author is Margaret Peterson Haddix. So that's the Lost series and also the Shadow Children, which I love.
Poetry. Poetry uses rhythm, it uses rhyme, but it does not always use rhyme. And you're going to find poetry in anthologies, which is, go ahead. It's a collection of different authors, or the same author, and their poems.
And also you'll have anthologies that might have multiple authors. Sometimes you'll have an anthology written by one particular person that someone has put together. But sometimes you have books like The Rose That Grew from Concrete by Tupac, a collection of poems that he wrote in his teenage years. And sometimes you'll have novels that are written in a poetic format, such as What My Mother Doesn't Know, What My Girlfriend Doesn't Know,
Burn.
Out of the Dust.
I love these novels. They're usually thick, but there's a lot of white space on the edge, and they're fast reads.
So don't be scared.
No. Informational. Now we're into nonfiction. So this is the stuff that's true. Informational books are books on facts. They give you stories about events that have taken place. They tell you about, here's some examples, dirt bikes, flying animals. I have something in my classroom on like anabolic muscles or something weird like that. Newspapers and encyclopedias are your major source of informational writing.
All right, bam. Biography, autobiography, and memoir. If you look at the word biography, it means to literally write about life. And so if somebody else writes about someone's life other than that person, it's called a biography. But look at the word part auto. It means self. So an autobiography is a story of someone's life written by themselves. And the difference between an autobiography and a memoir is that a memoir is still autobiographical, but it focuses on a specific event or a time period, and it doesn't focus from the beginning to the end like an autobiography is going to.
And a memoir is told from somebody's memories. And we all know that our memories aren't exactly 100% accurate. It's what you want to remember. And so that's another thing that you have to remember about memoirs is they're similar to autobiographies, but also very different because some of the stuff is made up, such as dialogue. And here's a couple of examples. And that is the end of our PowerPoint.
Don't forget that you need notes on all of these categories. You can shorten it to your liking, but make sure that you keep the integrity of what the notes are about. And this will come in handy because we will be doing an activity on this on Friday.
And you will need to know what genre book you're reading for the 40-book read. And while most of mine are listed, you're not going to find all of them listed in the library or from your friends or new books that I bring in. So make sure you know and understand this content.
All right. And as always, if you have questions, ask.
See you tomorrow.